Okay, magandang gabi ho sa inyo lahat. Welcome mo sa ating program. Ako po si SONNY LARAGAN. Merry Christmas. Malapit na ho. Ilang linggo na lang. Teka muna, ano ba ngayon? 8. 24. 8 minus 24 minus 8. Ano yan? 16? Tama ba yun? O 25, sorry, but 24. Kasi mas exciting ho, di ba? Yung the night before. Pati yung New Year, di ba? Yun ang pinaka-most exciting, the night before. The eve of Christmas, the eve of New Year. So, magandang gabi ho sa inyo lahat. Simula na ho, may vaccine ho. Kanina pa alas 6, I think early, mga 6:30 or today, no? And we're also proud dahil ang gumawa niyan isang Pinay ho. Isang Pinay. Mamaya may kukwento ni attorney. Kasi kung pagka sa mga news, ito yung magandang chismosa, no? Si attorney. Dahil siyempre, ito yung mga, hindi yung fake news, ha? Yung talaga, I mean, reading up sa mga latest happenings, events, no? Abreast ito ang ating pinakamamahal na abogada. So good evening ho, SONNY LARAGAN here for the Legal Advice Corner every Tuesday. So make it a habit. It's Happy Tuesday. Magandang gabi ho sa inyong lahat. Siyempre, ito na ho, kasama natin yung pinakamamahal ho nating abogada, no? Abogada. Nako, ano ho kami ngayon? Dahil pareho kami Damer. Araw ho ni Mama Mary today, no? Birthday. Parang sabihin na natin birthday, no? At ayan ho, we share the same school, no? And of course, we share the same program. Magkasama ho tayo rito. Magandang gabi, attorney. Good evening sa'yo. Oops. Ayan, talagang, attorney, mukhang gusto kang pasayawin talaga dyan sa music natin, no? Good evening, good evening. Ayun, pasensya na. Oo, gusto ko mapasayaw. Ayan, may Merry Christmas ako ito, attorney.
Natawa ako dun sa chismosa eh.
Hindi kasi nga, di ba? Oo. Hindi kasi attorney, kami ni Rose Clarinal because dito sa UK, siguro mga authentic na broadcasters dito. Well, a couple of guys from ABS, that's Rose Clarinal and Danny Bonafé. And yours truly, no? Kami ang siguro mga nandun talaga sa Pilipinas na lalo na kami dalawa ni Danny Bonafé, no? Because talagang nandun kami sa radyo, sa TV, sa Pilipinas. Yes, si Rose din, no? Of course, no? Pero kami nila Danny, we were frontliners. When you say frontliners, we were in front of the microphone or in front of the camera back home in the Philippines. So, kasi ating kaibigan si Rose, she started yata muna sa back muna, no? Mga productions, writing and everything sa likod, no? Eventually, yan, punta na siya sa front and doing some reports here. Okay. Chismoso daw. Ang sabi niya, chismoso daw. Kaming mga broadcaster in a nice way. Oh, because nanguusyo.
In a nice way. I think we share that.
Diba? Ano nangyari? What happened? Diba? 4 W's and 1 H. O sige, attorney. Naku, it's nice to see you again. Ha? Bago look mo, you have this, ano ba tawag natin dyan? Oy!
Yeah.
Si ano ba yung, nakita mo ba yung Toy Boy, si Maria Pedrosa? Ganyan ang, ano ba, nakasalamin siya?
Oo pala, no. Oo pala, no. Kaya siguro na, hindi, I've not had a chance.
Right.
I was meaning to, but ngayon, hopefully, in the next few weeks, I'd get a chance na ma-report next week about sa synopsis at series review ng Toy Boy. I was watching Star Trek Discovery.
Right.
Something else. So I was hoping to watch Toy Boy as well. So next week.
Hindi, ano lang yun. Kasi parang ikaw ang it's not ikaw, kundi it's a young lawyer in a firm, 'di ba? Na ano siya, ganun lang, no? And then he had to defend. Okay. She was assigned to defend the guy, no? Parang pro bono. Pero hindi nila alam, meron palang underlying reason. That's the reason why she was asked to represent the lawyer, the stripper, no? Magandang ano yan. Okay lang. Alam mo na, sa Netflix, lalabas lang kung ano yung mga shows na yan, no?
Lalabas lang, like, yeah, sige.
Ano ba pinanood mo? Ano ba mga pinanood mo ngayon? You watched ano napanood mo, attorney?
I've watched Star Trek, medyo may ako sa sci-fi, Star Trek Discovery. Ganda ng effects. And I can't remember what else I watched, but that was the last sa Netflix that I was watching. So I don't know kung may ibang Trekkies dito, so that's quite fun. Pero just like you, ha? Yeah, the one. Sorry?
No. Well, tinagtatanong ko, yung mga how do you call it? Trekkies ba? Is that how you call it?
Yeah, Trekkies.
Oo, yeah. Si Maria, I don't know, ikaw ba, mahilig ka ba sa conspiracy theories o hindi naman?
Hindi naman.
Hindi naman,
I enjoy sometimes sci-fi, as well as other series. So, mahilig din ako sa political series ng may yun yung parang medyo serious side. I'm great fan of West Wing, which is a classic. I don't know
Oh,
if you watched it, West Wing. Year 2000, malaking throwback. Year 2000 to
oo.
2006. Absolutely love it. So, inulit-ulit ko yan. And medical series House MD. If you watch si Gregory, Hugh Laurie, who's
Ah,
British, as you
ano
know.
ka bale, mga
And
series ka, attorney? You love the mga series na
series
ano,
ako.
no?
I love series. I love series. And I
Ah,
love news, as you know. Pareho tayong chismosa.
well, chismoso in a
About
good way. Oh, dahil ano
in
yan
a
eh,
good way, in a
kumbaga.
good way, in a good
Oh,
way. Ako
sabi nga
yung
kasi ni
correspondent mo about sa news today. Yeah.
Oo nga, pinagagawa nga ako ng story ng GMA eh, yung ano, yung tungkol sa mga ito kasi 'di ba, first na ano tawag dito. Dami kong hindi nagawang story. Sabi ni Sir Sunny,
Yeah.
pakigawa naman story diyan, yung mga yung mga ano, yung mga balik, yung mga padala, ganyan, yung mga 'di ba? Kasi this is
Okay,
the
mga
time that people
padala-padala, yeah.
sent ba,
Exactly.
mamaya-maya, wala akong nagawang story. Tapos, ano, Sir Sunny, baka pwedeng ano, ganito ganyan, pakigawa ng, yun nga, sa vaccines. Sabi ko, paano ako
Vaccines,
papasok sa
yeah.
ospital? Hindi naman ako pwede pumunta ng mga ospital at saka ano. So, I was
Yeah.
able to talk to some old ladies pero hindi ko na nagawa rin yung story dahil I was so busy today.
Yeah,
So,
busy,
yeah,
yeah.
yes, yun
Yeah.
lang muna. Oo. Teka muna,
Uh,
nawala yung aking, ito pala yung aking, ano, yung
yung
aking
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas mo nawala, yung Merry Christmas,
Yung
yeah.
Merry Christmas
Ayun,
ko.
nakita
Ayan,
natin,
Merry
yeah.
Christmas.
Ang
May
ganda.
maganda akong Christmas tree. May Christmas tree ka na ba sa iyong kwarto? Sa iyong, ano,
Ay,
flat?
hindi ko pa nalabas.
Magandang
Hindi
Christmas
ko
tree ko.
nalabas.
Oo, mga,
Hindi ko nalabas.
hopefully next
Yeah.
week pag nag-show tayo, baka doon ako sa Christmas tree. May malaki akong nabili, 6-footer, 6 something eh. Maganda, sarap
Proper Christmas
mag-decorate.
tree, yung natural. Masarap. Yun ba yung
Ay, hindi
natural na
natural, hindi
parang
natural. No, hindi natural. Ano yun siya? Tesco. Tesco.
That's alright. Mas madaling every year na you don't need to clean it up after sa
Oo
January.
nga.
Yun nata ang problema sa natural because it dies off and kailangan mong anuhin pa yung mga dry na mga leaves. Yeah.
Bakit nagna-natural ka ba, attorney? Nagna-natural ka ba?
No, I just dun sa mga kaibigan ko yung marati nilang sinasabi na kasi I
Ah,
always say, oh, ganda ng Christmas tree mo and they would
mm.
always say, ay, tingnan mo lang sa January. So, that's,
Meron na ba dyan?
it's fascination sa atin yung mga,
Oo.
ako for me. Kasi
May
wala
mga
niya sa
decor na ba dyan,
Pilipinas.
attorney? May mga decor na. Meron kaming dinaanan ni Maria because yesterday, lumabas na yung bagong newspaper. Asan na ba yung bagong? Mamaya, pag nag-break tayo, papakita ko yung bagong newspaper natin. Nasa labas na ho. Abangan ho ninyo, no? This week sa inyong mga suking tindahan o closest tindahan.
Yeah.
Or
That's a bit
mga...
special for me. Yung bagong,
Oo nga.
sorry, cut you off. Yung
May
bagong,
istorya mo, attorney, di ba? Para may something like
yeah,
a story of yours, no?
yeah.
Mamaya,
It's a
papakita
bit
ko
more
pag...
personal because, yeah, a bit more
Oo.
personal because I'm coming up to my 10th year sa law. So,
Wow.
December, I remember yung nag-start ako as intern lang. So, this is just as being nostalgic, I just realized as well now coming up to 10th year now. So, it's a story of my beginning. So, instead of normally legal analysis tayo na, so let's share a bit more of a personal story how it all started many years ago.
We're
So yeah,
quite interested, attorney, because you said 10 years ago, this is your decade mo, no? First decade mo as
yeah,
a legal
exactly, yeah,
practitioner, no?
yeah.
If you're looking like that, no? Curious kami, how did you look? No? Back 10 years ago, say, kunyari, ano ba ngayon? 2020. So, 2010, attorney. Di ba? 2010 yun, di ba?
2010, yeah.
Ano
Yeah,
itsura ni
2010.
Attorney Dana Quinto in 2010 when she was
I'll
starting
get
out?
to look at,
What in the
yeah.
ear spot?
I'll find.
Napaka ano, no? Maganda attorney.
10
Then
year
and
challenge
now.
ba to? 10 year challenge? 10
Hindi,
year
kasi nga, di ba
challenge?
sabi
10
mo,
year challenge.
you're celebrating this December, your 10th year,
Yep.
your first decade.
December, yeah.
Oh,
December. Yeah.
bro, man, you've been in the practice of law, specializing or learning, and yung law. And 10 years na,
Yeah,
di ba?
the first 2 years was in an intern. And if you read my story, the first 2 years was following volunteering as an intern, shadowing another lawyer who turned out to be my training principal and my mentor and almost like a father figure to me for the next 9 years after that. So it's a very interesting story. It's probably the longest 2 weeks sa isang firm I was supposed to stay. You spoiler lang, I was supposed to have a work experience. So mga law students, they know this work experience. Kukuha ka lang ng parang internship sa
Hmm.
isang firm, and it's
Oo.
unpaid. You just have to photocopy, you follow around, and you try to learn as much. So that was it. That was really the deal. 2 weeks. So
Oo.
we both kind of like each other. Okay, sige, stay ka. 2 weeks more. And 2 weeks more, and 2 weeks more. And then it
Ayun.
turned out into nine years. Yung two
Wow.
weeks na yun. So that was a really I look back and it's quite special, the
Well,
story.
that's
So
good.
yeah.
Maganda, no? You're
I
looking
didn't
back.
look like this. This is the new. It's not a permanent new look. As I was telling you, just to tell you, I've always a problem with my malaboy po yung mata ko even 10 years ago. So I always wear contact lenses pala. So I had a bit of a problem for the last few days, last few weeks. So
Mm.
pahinga-pahinga yung mata.
Ah, okay.
Naglagay ng
Ano, attorney, anong age ka? Anong age ka nag-start ng glasses mo? Ano ba tawag dito? To wear glasses. Kailan ka nag-start mag-wear ng glasses? I remember
12 years
I
old.
wore glasses in high school na eh. Bigla lang
12 years
lumabo
old.
ang mata ko.
Yeah. Yeah, 12 or 13 din ako. 12 or 13 years old.
Oo,
Quite,
ganun. Oo,
quite
mga
early.
ganyan. Mga first year high school yata ako. 13,
First year
ganyan.
na, first
14.
year ko, yeah.
Bigla lang lumabo
Yeah.
mata ko ha. I was just bigla lang lumabo. Oo. Out of the blue.
Yeah. So
Parang
ako, pag
ganun.
tinanggal ko to, wala akong makikita. Yun
Ah,
ang,
oo. Pareho tayo.
very
Nearsighted ka. Nearsighted
nearsighted.
ka. Nearsighted.
Nearsighted, yes. So,
Oh, may ano yan, may
turns out
tawag diyan eh.
to,
There was a technical term to that, di
ah,
ba?
hindi.
Hindi, may technical term yung nearsighted, farsighted eh. May technical
Myopia.
myopia. Myopia ang
Myopia, I
yung
think.
yung mga nearsighted tayo.
I think so, yeah. Myopia is
Oh, okay,
nearsighted,
all
yeah.
right. Oh, kasi sa pag sinabing you're myopic, so parang ano yan, parang
You're
ayata.
myopic, yeah. I don't know the other one actually kung may
Oo.
alam ng mga viewers
Oh,
natin
alam
kasi
nila yan, alam nila yan.
daming trivia dito. This is Google Legal
Oo nga.
Advice Corner.
Tama 'yon. Tama 'yon, attorney,
Ask,
no?
ask,
Hindi, at
and
saka
you
yung mga
shall
listeners natin,
get
they easily they really share with us eh. Parang nasusundan nila eh. Tingnan ko kung makakapagbigay ako ng mga a few pagbati sa atin ha. Tingnan ko lang kung kakayanin
I
natin
think
kasi because sometimes we hit and miss some of the pasensya, okay magagalit ha kasi minsan sapul yung tawag nyo, minsan hindi no. Okay, eto si Norma Santiago bumati sa atin. Good evening po. Good evening Norma Santiago ha. Mamaya pagka break natin, papakita ko sa inyo yung article niya no, yung sinasabi ni attorney no. Kung hindi kayo makakuha sa inyong nearest tindahan, we will be coming up with our digital link or online. Okay, si Edgar Duay, yung
yeah.
ating very good friend. Ayan, sabi niya, magandang gabi and happy Tuesday. Legendary Laragan and Legally Yours. Attorney DQ. Uy, okay. Hoy, si Rudy. Libro.
Edgar.
Hi, Sir Sonny and Attorney Lovely Dana and all kababayans. Happy Tuesday. Mabuhay from Belfast. Ayan, may konting problema doon sa
Yun.
yung problema yung kanyang no, Doritos pero kasi si Rudy kasi they find na although it's a small thing, 'di ba? Ano lang naman 'yun, 2-3 pieces lang 'yun, madaling bilhin 'yun. Kaya lang
Hmm.
yung fact na parang it is some sort of a good luck thing, parang ganon. Kaso nga ang hirap
Yeah,
siguro
it's a good luck trivia.
magpadala yata si attorney, pag hindi mo pa natatanggap, she said, no, nung last program natin, yung Sainsbury's na gift, parang gift certificate. Kasi nga naman, parang
Voucher, parang
baka,
voucher,
ano pa,
yeah.
yung tatatlong piraso lang, tapos papadala pa ng, ng,
Yeah.
ng post, ng package, no, parcel.
Mm.
Okay, Juliet Alviado Marcelino, hi, good evening, Sunny and Attorney Dana, happy Tuesday. Uy, ito bago to,
Happy
attorney,
Tuesday. Talagang,
Oo. Ito,
Juliet,
mentor.
regular natin yan, si Juliet. Regular
No, no,
natin
no, si
yan.
Juliet. Pero itong susunod, si Mentor Irene Soriano. Nabasa mo na ba yan?
Mentor. Good evening. No, hindi ko.
Bago
Welcome,
yan.
mentor.
Oo,
Welcome, yeah,
bago. Oh, nako. Since it's Notre Dame Day today, December 8, We're talking si Ma'am Cora Carsola. She was a grade school teacher sa Notre Dame of naging Greater Manila kami, attorney, from NDM.
Manila.
Oo, naging NDGM kami.
Yeah.
Ano ko ba? Mas cute pakinggan yung NDM and Notre Dame of Manila rather than Greater Manila.
Yeah.
Oo. Ito si Emeline Rafael,
Mas,
she's a very
yeah.
talagang matindi nating listener, no, viewer. At maganda ang buhok nito, no?
Ay,
Because
oo nga,
before she goes to
ganda.
bed yata meron siyang nilalagay na mga batteries sa ulo.
Curlers.
Oo, may batteries siya sa ulo. So, Emmeline, magandang gabi, no? Ito, sabi niya, looking great and different, Attorney Dana, with your eyeglasses, looking different ka raw. Kita mo naman, napapansin niya, ha?
Thank you, yeah.
Oh, ito, kaibigan mo ba ito? Si Catherine Yap. Trekkie here. I love Star Trek too.
Yeah.
Kaibigan mo ito? Kilala mo ito?
Opo,
Catherine?
kaibigan ko yan.
Oh, Catherine, yan. Hello. Oh, yan. Attorney DQ, watch JAG. Jag. Ano kaya yan?
Sa Netflix pa yan, Edgar? Netflix?
Netflix ba yan? Oh, kasi Netflix, girl. Oo nga, oo. Netflix ba yan? Ay, ako kailangan mag-full... kailangan. Attorney, may chismis ako sa'yo. Magsasarili na ako ng siguro, ng Netflix. Nakakainggit. Squatter kasi ako sa Netflix eh. So, kailangan Okay.
Okay. Walang problema yun.
Hindi. Okay lang yan. Nakakatuwa lang kasi talaga na ang Netflix kasi, magugulat ka eh. Ako, buti nga, you love series, pero ako nahirapan ako sa series eh. Uy, baka kala nyo ha, puro kami kwentuhan. Hindi, pagbalik ko natin, meron tayong legal. Ano ba pag-uusapan, attorney, kung sakasakaling pagbalik natin?
Legal advice.
Legal advice lang kung may mga tanong sila, ganon? Or are you going to be discussing anything?
Meron pa.
Meron.
Sige, tayong dito.
Okay, tapusin lang natin to. Si Edgardo Cagahastian, ako nanalo. Mami nito, na-meet ko nung Sabado. Si Mami Sanaida Cagahastian Enriquez, no? Nanalo sila ng, magkano ba? 3,000 ba yung pinanalo mo, Edgar, no?
Wow.
Kasi tumataas ngayon eh. Tong Sunday kasi gagawin na namin 5,000, no? Para sa ating mga viewers, no? Okay. Si May Tigbao.
Hello, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. May Tigbao Vargas, good evening, Sir Sonny and Attorney Dana, watching from Exeter. Uy, nako, dumating si Ranjit. At last, we saw him now. No? We're seeing him now. Ayun. Oh, good evening, both Sir Sonny and lovely Dana. Kita mo naman, ha? And all. Happy Tuesday. Did you have a good weekend watching from freezing Warwickshire? A Trekkie. Uy, Trekkie. Ba, attorney, ha? I always love the original series with William Shatner as the captain. Does anyone remember the $6 million man or Knight Rider? Happy 10th anniversary law career, Dana. Oy. $6 million man si Lee Majors yan. Knight Rider is si Hasselhoff ba?
Okay.
David Hasselhoff.
Okay,
Ayan.
That's
Oy.
good. Ayan.
Oy, nako, ito yung kumari ko. Ito,
Kumare.
dapat maging kaibigan mo to. Have you met this, si Marites Allen? Have you met her, si Marites Allen? Siyang feng shui.
Hi, Marites.
Naku, doon niya. May-ari na isang island sa sa Palawan. Oo,
Galing.
ganun yan. Oo,
Galing.
kumari natin yan. Napakabait,
Well done,
down to
well done.
earth, no? Walang area yan. She's a very nice lady. Lady yan eh. Woman, lady, kompleto na yan. Meron silang
Woman lady.
Mare, teka muna, asan ba itong kumari ko? Merong asan ba, binigyan mo ba ako ng link nung iyong meron silang yung feng shui, parang, yan eh, parang, towards the year, or yung mga ganyan, mga year end, or start of the year, ganyan. Merong parang, seminar ba yan, kung tawagin, no? Yung kumari natin, she's very, very good. Mahal natin to. Pagka minsan nagkikita kami, nagko-coffee, nag-dinner, kung ano-ano ginagawa namin. Meron kaming barkadahan eh. Sila puro babae, ako lang nag-iisang lalaki, no. But yes, Mare ha. Yan ha. Malakas ang PR niya, very good. Talagang yan. Pwede na siguro kumare natin, siguro Manila's, ano ba yung yung mga nasa alta sociedad na sa Pilipinas nung araw? Manila's 400 ba nung araw? How you call it?
We can call her that.
I'm surprised.
Top ano pa yan?
Attorney, ito meron tayo sa Nene Puyat. She's a leader. Ito, naku, mamimit mo. when I was pag nasa Norway ako, naku, napakagaling, nasarap mag-host nito. Kapampangan to, napakasarap magluto. Si Nene Puyat. No, Nene, asa ka ba? Nasa Pilipinas ka po, nasa Norway ka. Good evening, Sonny from Norway.
Hello po.
Yes, she is one of the leaders. I first met
From
her.
Norway.
Yeah, met her kasi she's a leader, one of those leaders in Europe. Talagang maano yan sa Norway. Si Nene Puyat, kilalang kilala yan ng mga ambassadors, embassy, no? Nene, mabuhay ha. Si Manang Nene yan, Nene
Mabuhay
Puyat.
po kayo.
Catherine
Mabuhay po
Yap,
kayo. I hope
ayan.
you're keeping well and warm.
Yes, nga, grabe dyan sa
Ayan.
Norway. Mas malamig dyan dahil there is snow would stay for about 5 to 6 months almost. Attorney, no?
Wow.
Grabe, oo.
Hindi
Nancy-
ko kakayanin. 1 degrees lang eh. Hindi ko makinaya. Liit ng commute ko. 1 minute, lamig
1
na
minute
lamig
lang,
ako.
oo, grabe, no? 1 degree dun sa araw.
Lamig na lamig ako.
Inabot ka ba was it today or kahapon? Today yata and the other day, yung heavy fog in London, nagpa-fog din ba sa inyo? Heavy fog?
Inabot po kami. Yeah,
Inabot
Sunday,
kayo.
inabot po kami. It was misty and it was very, parang sa movie, yung,
Very dense.
akala mo parang ghost town, parang gano'n.
Oo, hindi kasi very dense ang kapal eh. Di ba? Ang kapal-kapal. Oo,
Dense, yeah, it was a bit, it was slightly weird, but, and kahapon, ang lamig, and today, you really felt it, yung talagang lamig na tagos sa buto, na, alam mo yung parang, it really is dry cold, and that's when you know
Yes.
it's winter, the Christmas is coming, but
1
siguro,
degree.
para sa taga-Norman, lang yan, no?
Manila yan.
Wala.
Baliwala yan. Parang sa kanila, parang ano na yan. Baliwala yan.
Spring.
So mabuhay
Spring yan sa
ka,
kanila,
Nene Puyat, no?
spring.
Nene,
Mabuhay po kayo.
ayan, mabuhay. Naku, yan ang mga leaders.
Ano,
Nancy Amores Nicole. Good evening po, Attorney Dana and Sonny, watching from Scotland. Ayun. Tapos si Attorney
Wow,
Edgar
that's
Duay.
good.
Wow! Can't believe you don't know JAG. It's a TV series kung saan nagmula ang
okay.
NCIS.
Napagalitan pa ako
Judge
ni Edgar
Advocate
Duay.
General of the U.S. Military. It's all about USMJ. Okay. Hindi kasi nasabi mo kasi
Okay,
West Wing eh.
okay.
Pero
West
kasi yung
Wing,
presidency yun eh.
Ano ba
Presidency tapos ito,
Yeah,
JAG,
this
no?
is slightly different. But I'd like to
Oo.
watch that. Hanapin ko yan, Edgar. Hanapin.
Attorney, hindi ko alam kung masasagot mo to. May tanong po ako, could someone avail of a state pension when she reaches the pension age even if she has just worked for 2 years in the UK?
My Nancy, from the top of my head, is that you have to have minimum years of contribution. I can't really remember kung ano yon. Don't quote me on this. I think it's about 20 years of contribution. We can look that up mamaya. But I think you have to have a certain number of years of contributions in the UK. So that's, if may previous na work contribution, like pension contributions from Europe, that's slightly different. That will make things a bit more complicated, and you probably have to ask a pension expert. But for UK alone, you have to have a level of minimum contributions, and it's, I think, about 20 years. But I will check that for you.
Oh, really? Okay. Pero pero yan, pwede mo itanong yata. Pero kung sakali, yung mga ganyan, saan nila pwedeng itanong yan, attorney? Sa mga government
council po.
agencies, di ba?
Council, government po. Yeah, government
Oo,
agencies.
government agencies.
Council,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Government agencies.
Ayan.
I'm sure
Oh.
it's available.
Ang
but I
pwede
will
nyo
check.
itanong,
Yeah.
ang pwede nyo itanong kay attorney, kunyari may utang sa inyo, tapos hindi kayo binabayaran, nagtagtago, o yung mga mana-mana, or anything legal about no, wag lang, well, pwede na rin konti immigration, pero syempre meron tayong immigration specialist on a Thursday. Si attorney ho is encompassing ang kanyang if you want to talk about law, anything, no, sa dito, ayan ho, makakatulong siya.
We will try. It's okay. Yeah, we will try to answer. We will try to help. If we can't answer, we'll try to help.
Okay. Attorney, mag-break muna tayo ha. Let's have a short break and then pagbalik natin syempre, tuloy-tuloy tayo sa ating pinag-uusapan at baka sakali pagbalik ko, pakita ko yung bagong issue ng Andun si si attorney, bagong issue ng Yes Philippines. Andun si ikaw and andun si Tess tuloy. Si Marites Allen. Ayan. Yung ating kaibigan si Marites Allen. Ayan. Celebrity feng shui yan. Expert yan. She's a ready.
Expert, yeah.
Oo. Ayan. Meron yung mga
pero-
show yan, kasama niya si Rufa Gutierrez, si Boy Abunda, yung mga nag-ano sa kanya, no? Kasama niya.
wow, ang galing.
Siya nakikita yan anywhere. CNN Philippines, ABS-CBN, lahat ng mga networks kapag ka
Wow.
New Year. Lalo na may Chinese New Year. Talagang-
Exactly, yeah.
Lagi siyang
exactly.
lagi
Kung
siyang nakikita
ano
nun.
bang maswerte?
Oh,
Anong
ganun. Oh, yan.
maswerteng isuotin, no? You like the color, the color for New Year and that sort of thing. Ano yung maswerteng
Oo nga. Mari ka, minsan,
fruits or something.
tama, oo. Minsan nga, total, nandito ko na naman. Siguro one time, magkwentuhan lang tayo. Let's talk about yung mga pampaswerte, no? Oh, alam mo ba, may
Maswerte,
mga,
yeah.
you have to have know the date of birth ng tauhan mo because sometimes baka hindi kayo mag-gel. Mga ganyan eh. Maraming mga ano yan eh. Mga, kailangan talaga, di ba? So, we'll have a short break, guys. Huwag ho kayo nga alis. Magbabalik ho kami ni attorney. At pagbalik namin, syempre, doon sa didiscuss niya. Ano nga ulit didiscuss mo, attorney?
So this tonight we'll discuss about yung overview ng financial remedy court proceedings. So we talk about it in bits and pieces, pero we never really had a chance to give yung buong overview ng process. So we'll walk them from kung ano yung step 1 na gagawin hanggang if ever may trial on the financial side of a divorce.
Okay, alright. Huwag ko kayo alis. Saglit ho lamang. Pagbalik ho namin ni attorney, ayan ho ang i-discuss natin. Saglit po lamang.
Mula doon hanggang ngayon, serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan, serbisyong maaasahan pagdating sa inyong mga padalang balikbayan boxes. Dito ka na sa Forex Cargo. Sa presyong kayang-kaya ng bulsa, sigurado ka pa sa inyong padala. Forex Cargo. Dahil kailangan makarating. Call 0208-813-7064. O, ano pang inaantay niyo mga kabayan? Tayo na sa Forex Cargo. May problema ka ba sa landlord mo? Baka AV ka na ni Kuya. May problema sa mga kapitbahay, sa trabaho. O kaya naman kay Mister o kay Mrs. Away tungkol sa mana, mga may utang, mga aksidente, daing o laban sa ospital or sa NHS. Harassment? O baka naman may stalker ka na gusto mong ireklamo? Punta na sa Divi Solicitors. para matulungan ka pagdating sa mga litigations at iba pang mga legal concerns. Divi Solicitors at Mayfair House, 11 Lurk Street, Bedford, MK40 3HZ. Tumawag sa 01234-350-244 or 01234-225-188 o kaya naman mag-email sa d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com. Visit our website at www.dvsolicitors.com.
Okay, naku, tuloy-tuloy tayo sa ating programa. Ito ho yung bagong issue ho ngayon ng Yes Philippines. Merry Christmas. Ayan. Okay. At si Attorney Dana, andito ho. Makikita ho ninyo ang story niya. Yung kanyang pamagat ng kanyang storya is 260... Ano, ito ba, Attorney? Ayan. 200... kita niyo yung picture ni Attorney, ha? Ayan, ang ganda-ganda ng picture ni Attorney, ha? Ayan. O, ayan. 260th 2 weeks. Oh, nagsimula na pa rin 2 weeks hanggang sa ngayon. Nandito ka pa rin, nandiyan ka pa rin, no? Ayan. Sabi dito, I was lucky to have been given a chance to fail and not to fear to do so. I was lucky to have been given a chance to be right, whether the formula was conventional or less so. Ayan, si Attorney Dana. Ito yan, no? Si Attorney Dana ho yan. Ayan, no? 26. Galing, ha? Haba ng mahaba, siguro, Maganda. Ilang mga words to. Ito naman siya, no? Ito na, may cash every Saturday ho. Ayan, may cash tayo, ha? Namimigay ng cash, Sabado panalo. Ayan. So, ano ba to? Mali ba yung camera, Attorney? Ayan. Ayan.
Tama po.
Ayan, kita yan. Ayan, okay. Ayan, ito yung Sabado ho yan. Ito naman yung kay Attorney, kay regular nating column dito si Marites Allen yung kumari ko. Ayan. Friga forecast. May forecast siya, Attorney. Ayan.
Ayun.
Marites Allen. Ano ka? Anong zodiac hindi naman zodiac. Anong animal sign mo, Attorney?
Rabbit. Yan po ba yung sa rabbit? Yan po ba yung
Rabbit.
year of the dog?
Yes. Rabbit.
Yeah,
So from December 4 to January 4, December 7 to January 4, ang rabbit ay, so babasahin ko lang konti, both opportunities and obstacles are on the horizon. Para tayo malabo mata. Priority. Ayan ang sa rabbit, no? From December 7 to January 4. Ako naman, pig ako eh. Ang sabi, wrap up all projects and unfinished business. Take a bold stance in relation to your work, business, or relationships. If you are single, tell that special someone exactly how you feel. Make time for those who truly care for you. Pag single, no? Ayan.
Okay. Mga kababayan dyan. Yan.
Mamaya, kung ano ho kayo, kung rat kayo, ox, tiger, dragon, snake, horse, sheep, monkey, rooster, dog, babasahin namin mamaya yan. In the meantime, ito na si Attorney. Ito na. Attorney, yan, yung sinasabi mo, pag-uusapan, going through the steps and procedures ba yan?
Exactly. Going through the whole proceeding ng financial remedies sa divorce. So, they always ask me, okay, maghihiwalay na kami. And ano ba yung kailangan namin gawin? And minsan sinasabi sa akin, paano ba yan? Anong mangyayari kung hindi kami mag-agree? What would happen? So this is part of my normal na preliminary advice. Kumbaga yun yung overview na ibibigay ko. Kasi one of the things that is very concerning from my experience sa mga divorcing couples is the uncertainty of it all. Anong mangyayari sa future ko, anong mangyayari sa future ng anak ko. And one of how we can help as officers of the court, as lawyers, is to at least provide as much information as we can kung ano yung ma-expect nila sa proseso na to. So, obviously, you would have to reach a point na irretrievable na yung breakdown ng marriage. Sometimes they ask me the question na wala pa sila sa ganun na point, but because they want to know what will happen. For all intents and purposes, you can use financial side of the court proceedings. We call it financial remedies ngayon. It used to be years ago, siguro narinig nyo to, yung ibang mga kakababayan natin, it used to be called ancillary relief proceedings. Again, the wording has changed. So when you go to the court, it's called financial remedy proceedings now. So when you've started your divorce, the filing divorce petition, the first thing that we always try to say is, pwede pa ba kayo mag-usap? Pwede ba kayong mag-mediation? So we always try to offer mediation. O kaya kung ayaw nyo ng mediation, ask sa ating mga Pilipino, baka meron kayong ninong sa kasal o kaibigan, third party na parehong kaibigan nyo, parehong yung nire-respeto who may be able to mediate between you because frankly, it's cheaper and also mas mabilis. So that's one thing na sasabihin namin, please consider mediation. Alternatively, kung ayaw nyo ng mediation at kailangan nyo ng mas structured, pero ayaw nyo pang pumunta sa korte. So we say, okay, sige, pwede tayong as lawyers, because the other side is represented and we are represented, we can do voluntary. Kung ano man yung gagawin sa korte, we can do a part which I'll explain better later between us. Kumbaga mag-exchange tayo ng documents and we're going to talk about how we can settle the matter without going to the court. Pretty much yun yung gagawin natin. Isa yan sa unang-unang tatanungin ko before we even go to the last resort of going to proceedings. Pwede pa ba? Pwede pa ba tayong mag-mediate o pwede pa ba tayong mag-usap? At some point or in some cases, talagang hindi na. Dahil yung isang, for many reasons, either the other party is taking too slow or yung other party is not at all responding, hindi nagko-cooperate dun sa voluntary procedure or sa mediation. So you think, oh, better maybe na i-involve ng korte. So what we do is we submit first and foremost a Form A. So Form A is, it's just a form. We fill it out and we tell the court that please can we start the proceedings now. You would have to pay a court fee with that. And once you've submitted that to the court, proseso na ng korte kung ikaw yung applicant, ikaw yung nagsasabi ng korte na please, can you start this case, this financial remedy case now. The court will come back to you with an acknowledgement and will send that application to the other side at magkakaroon ng tinatawag na namin na notice of first appointment, including some dates. Bibigyan kayo ng homework ng korte. Ng korte, this is what you need to do by this date. So you have to, mag-umpisa na yung favorite disclosures, like exchange ng documents, financial disclosures. So I would say, please fill up Form E, which is, we talked about it 3-4 weeks ago. These are pretty much form that will information about your state of finances, asset, liabilities, business interests, pension, properties, assets or properties, living expenses, and so on and so forth. Basically, we'll take a picture of your a complete and comprehensive picture of your finances. You will also be asked to provide evidence na naka-attach dun sa Form E, like bank statements, valuations, pension valuations, valuations of your home, mortgage redemption statement, and so on and so forth, business valuation. So it's quite a big exercise. So hindi ka naman bibigyan ng korte ng 2 weeks lang. So the court will give you ample amount of time. Pareho kayo. You'd have to exchange those documents. Tag-isa kayo ng form. You'd have to fill it up. You'd have to compile yung evidence nyo. And then you exchange that with the other side. Once you've exchanged that, again, may homework na naman doon, nakalagay doon, please can you raise questions about the other side's disclosures? So you raise questions the other side disclosures. Technically, hopefully, you'll be able to answer that. Or baka merong yung mga abogado nyo, may mga debate na hindi naman tama yung question ng kabila. We do not wish to answer that. But the most important thing is the court will tell you, please raise your questions. Also, meron doon, after that, they will give you a notice of first hearing, the first appointment, the direction, first direction appointment. So, bibigyan ka ng certain set of homework or directions until the first hearing. Before the first hearing, kailangan sasabihin mo na sa korte, again, you'd have to produce this certain documents para alam ng korte yung information about your case. You'd have to do statement of issues. Ano ba yung pinag-aawayan nyo? In a very summarized format, a case chronology. Ano yung kwento ng buhay ng mag-asawa? Ano yung certain date ng video, date of marriage, date of cohabitation, date of separation, date of divorce, date of filing. So those dates. Hindi po ito theory ng anong nangyari o nangaliwa si asawa or ito yung hindi naghugas ng plato si asawa. It's not like that. This is just a very factual summary of what happened here in this family. More about dates of birth and more about length of marriage, a snapshot overview lang of what happened in this case, milestones in this case. Also, there would have to be, so that's the chronology, statement of issues, and also cost. Gusto malaman ng kote, magkano na bang ginastos nyo up until this point. Remember, this is just the first hearing, unang pagkikita niyo sa korte. In most cases, hindi perfect yung document. Nagawa yung abogado kung ano yung dapat tanungin at hindi dapat tanungin, or delayed sa homework yung isang partido. Hindi nag-submit ng ganito, nawawala yung disclosure sa ganito, hindi tama yung binigay na information, there is certain debate about anong valuation or method ng valuation. So lots of things. It's an imperfect world, so it's very rarely mentioned at this stage. If perfect yung information, you may say, oh, Donna, paano kung perfect na information? Yes, by all means, kung perfect na yung information, talagang magaling kayong mag-collate, you can start negotiating even to first hearing. But that's fair. It's good for you that can happen. By all means, you can have a chat. But kung hindi perfect yung information and you need directions from the court, your lawyers at the first directions appointment can ask the court for directions. So each side will test their arguments to the beginning and say, no, we don't want this question in, that's fishing expedition. Or we would say to the court, well, they haven't produced this document, so please court, and you give another deadline and a warning for them to finish ahead of the next exercise, bago tayo pumunta sa next stage. So the court will try, parang housekeeping, will try to manage the case. Ano ba yung issue kaya? Statement of issue. And look at your cost, guys. So normally the court will give you, that will be the chance for the court to say, look at the cost here. Look at the value of the case. So sometimes they would give a warning to both parties to say, please, try to settle, try to do your best, try to do your homework as promptly as possible so you don't burn your money with your lawyers. So basically that's the reason why. So the judge at that point will give further directions. Naman, in anticipation of the next hearing, which is could possibly be what we called a financial dispute resolution. Ano ba yan? What's the financial dispute resolution hearing? So hopefully by that stage, nagawa nyo na kung yung dapat nyo gawin. Really, the reality is like what the court would want both parties to have is a complete picture of the assets and the disclosure of this family para makagawa kayo ng decision, probably one of the biggest decisions of your life as an adult, before you completely disentangle as a couple. So the exercise is this. So the beginning of homework, update the disclosures ahead of the financial dispute resolution. You'd be given a certain time. However, the court will actually try to encourage you. In the old days when it was pre-COVID, you could still go to court. You'd have a 10 o'clock hearing, financial dispute resolution. You'd still have the same thing, statement of issues. Now the court say, oh, okay, what are the issues still and why haven't you settled? Ano ba yung mga last office niyo? this particular judge at the financial dispute resolution will never be your final judge. Parang ito yung ano, kumbaga, siya yung, you can test your case whilst attempting to settle. In a way, para siyang mediation hearing. We don't call it mediation hearing, we just call it an FDR. So you bring your documents, you tell your judge what you're arguing about, lawyers can test their arguments, the judge will say, if ako yung trial judge dito, this is what I would say. So why don't you go out to the court, out of the court, go to one of the rooms and have a chat about settling. Really, that's what would happen in an FDR. So sometimes both parties would stay outside, volley offers, mag-exchange no offers, probably for 2-3 hours or the whole day. And they may get into a league. They may say, Judge, halos lahat, agree na kami. However, this particular point, we really can't agree with this. Can we come back, please? You can also make an indication about this point, and you may help settle the case. So this is parang, sabi na iba, parang ano to, almost like, I wouldn't want to call it a mock trial, but it's more of like a testing your argument in order to settle the case. So you can get out of the court, test that into judge. And then when the judge gives an indication, and these are judgment indication, we call it indication. So we go out and then we go back to the other side and say, okay, so that's what the judge indicated. Kung siya daw yung final trial judge, yun daw yung kanyang, yun daw yung, this is our offer, this is our counter offer. It is hoped na at that stage, because the judge again would have an updated cost schedule from you both, they will really give this warning now. Please make use of that hearing. Please make use of that date to reach a settlement, because you would be again looking at substantial cost magkayo dun sa last phase. So this is talagang kung talagang malaking-malaki yung argument nyo, and if you think you're gonna get a different judge, you will get a different judge definitely for the trial. And if you think na talagang malakas yung argumento mo at magkaiba yung tingin nyo sa case, that's really the only reason you will proceed to the next stage. But most of the cases settle here kasi parang nagkaroon ka na ng sample na kung ano yung sasabihin ng judge. So the idea is that pwede mo nang sabihin sa client mo na, yun mo ha, yun yung sasabihin ng judge. Pag pumunta tayo ng trial hearing, I think we need to move a little bit. Or you can say, it's fine, we can stay with our case. So ideally, things would end there. If things end there at you're agreed, then you can write yung settlement, or we call it consent order. You can draw up your consent order and matters with them. But in certain cases where the argument is so massive, it can go on to the next stage. If kulang pa rin yung document, and the judge will say, well, judge, we tried, but we really can't settle, and we want further directions going to the final trial. So the judge may give a little bit of homework, so you can be in a much better position, and we'll give a listing for your final trial. So again, the same exercise. You do your homework, you make your disclosures, get whatever it is that's needed for the case, and then you turn up to the final trial. Now, you can at any stage make an offer by all means. However, for final trial now, obviously, tumas na yung cost nyo, it will be very hard to settle. So just be very, very vigilant of that. At the final trial, that's the only thing. If you settle, both of you would make it on anong provision yung sa settle nyo, anong basis, ano yung laman ng agreement nyo. If it goes to final trial, somebody else will decide for you. It will be the judge, obviously, will be your trial judge. So as usual with any trial, opening submissions, witnesses will be heard, and there will be closing submissions, and there will be a judgment. So that's really from slightly different, napag-usapan natin last time, civil proceedings. This is slightly different with the financial side of the divorce, wherein you are trying to narrow the issue. You're trying to ask indication from the court. You're trying to get to that point na ito-test mo kung ready ka na ba mag-settle, to test mo yung arguments to the court via yung sabi ko, FDR. And if it's not possible, you will go to the final hearing. So that's from day one, where you say to me, oh, Dana, I have a divorce. What do I need to do? To the ending, wherein hopefully, ideally, you agree with with the other party, or if you can't agree, then a trial judge will make a judgment on the case.
Mahaba pala yung proseso na yan, no? It starts from a very simple process.
Mahaba?
Oo, di ba? Well, mahaba in the sense that you start with mediation, di ba? Pag hindi na kayo pwedeng magka-agree, somebody else will do it on your behalf, which is the judge na, no? Di ba? Tama ba yun?
Yeah, exactly.
Oo.
What sometimes dahil hindi nag-agree sa mediation is may ibang interpretation. Magkaiba yung interpretation nila sa law. So as you can see, tatlo yung parang main chunk ng stages. The first one is trying evidence gathering, disclosure gathering. Yung ano, ayan kunin nyo lahat ng information about the case. Get all the information that you can. Ang problema, sometimes may party na who will try to be clever, magtutuso, hindi magbibigay ng impormasyon, hindi magbibigay ng disclosure. It'll make things very, very hard. Now, after that, kung nabigay na yung mga information, now lawyers would have to make submissions as to bakit sinasabi nila na ito yung gusto nila para sa kliyente nila. Bakit kailangan mas mataas o mas mababa yung porsyento ng kabilang, mas mataas yung porsyento ng kliyente nila o mas mababa yung porsyento ng kabilang partido. Now, that's the legal interpretation of the case. Sometimes they can't agree. Sabihin nila, no, that's not right. What you're saying is right, Ms. Quinto. So, what happened is we go to that FDR, yung middle stage, yung pwede mong i-test yung case mo sa judge. And the judge would actually come back with indication. Hindi to trial. Parang ano lang to. Ano to rehearsal. Rehearsal ng arguments. You can actually get, but however, what they say sometimes is, yan lang yung sinabi niya because this is a different judge. Sometimes client would say, well, I want to try with a different judge. I want to try with the final hearing judge. Or they would say na, we don't think that's, we don't believe na it would completely be a full win. Kasi minsan yung judge then at the FDR would say, well, not quite sure about that. They will make some indication, but hindi full indication. So may areas pa rin na gray, which you would have to argue about still. But the intention is that if we focus nyo, tingnan nyo kung anong pinag-aawayan nyo, magkano pa ba yan? Tingnan nyo kung magkano nagastos nyo, at tingnan nyo kung magkano pagagastusin nyo. Is it really proportional? And you would have to make that decision at that day. Kung worth it pa rin, kung ganun pa rin kalaki, and it's worth a final trial, then sometimes final stage, where yun talagang sasabihin nila, well, minsan kasi may new point of law. Yun nangyayari. We're pushing the boundaries of law. May bagong area na hindi pa na-discuss before, walang case precedent. And that's the reason why they're pushing it, and they're pushing it. Because an unusual case, that and sometimes, but it is very rare. Sa high street na practice, it's very rare. With most cases, yung normal na, you would say middle class family, just spend, and we always say burn that money with lawyers. Kasi lahat ng binabayad nyo sa abogado nyo, pareho kayo may abogado, you really are burning that from the matrimonial pot. So that's just a very, very stark warning with divorce, with couples divorcing. It would be in your best interest, pareho kayo, to agree as early as possible.
You mentioned at the outset, no, it would be cheaper to have it through a friend. Halimbawa, binding yon. Let's say, for example, through a friend na kausap, Mary and Joseph, o ano na kayo, ganito ito, fair, ito, hatian. Yun, pwede na ba kagad matapos doon? Let's say, nagka-agree na sila doon. Let's just say, sa itong pinag-uusapan natin, ano ba tawag dyan? Ancillary nung araw ba yan? Ancillary ba?
Ancillary relief, nung araw.
O relief, o ngayon, financial
yeah.
remedies na ngayon. No? So, ancillary relief.
Financial remedy.
So, pwede na ba yun, attorney? Doon pala sa stage na yun, okay na yung
What they
agreement?
normally do,
Mhm.
what they normally do at that stage, unang-una, one important thing is that when they do that, kumbaga DIY na discussion, they would still have to follow, kumbaga, yung spirit ng ginagawa namin, which is be informed. Be informed. Lay cards on the table. Kung ano, in any decision, ito naman yung prinsipyo sa kahit anong decision na gagawin mo. Before you make a decision, make sure you're fully informed. Make sure, kung magagawa ka ng deal, kung gagawa ka ng settlement agreement, make sure na fully alam mo kung ano yung extent ng ginagawa nyo ng deal. So, I would say, gawa kayo, mag-disclosure din kayo. Lagay nyo yung disclosure nyo between you, kahit kasama si Auntie Mary or si Auntie Cora or si si Uncle Edgar. You'd still have to do it on the basis na alam mo kung ano yung ginagawan mo ng settlement. What I will also suggest is before mo gawin yon, before ka pumunta sa settlement agreement na yan, so kumuha ka muna ng agreement. You can ask with that, what my clients would do is, andyan na yung ano nila, if it's a simple matter, andyan na yung figure, andyan na yung picture ng assets and liabilities. Get advice. Get a bit of advice kung ano ba yung reasonable in this circumstance. And normally, pag simple yung case, within 30 minutes, we would be able to give an indication kung ano ba yung, ito yung reason, spectrum ng reasonable, kung ano makukuha mo. And what clients would do is try to get it agreed. And then pag andyan na yung agreement, they take the agreement to a lawyer, and the lawyer would put that into a document. And that's really how it becomes a full consent order. So, although may involvement pa rin ng lawyer, you'd still have andun yung disclosure, andun yung independent legal advice, at andun yung in writing na settlement, we call it consent order, in writing yung agreement nyo. Andun yung main 3 items na kailangan mo talagang andyan if you are going to deal with cases like this. So full and frank disclosure, make sure you get independent legal advice, and really put it in writing in a consent order form so it can be sealed by the court. Sorry, Mr. I can't hear you, sorry.
No, sorry. Okay, financial disclosure, yung mga sinasabi natin, mga financial dispute resolution kanina, no? Okay, magbe-break lang, no? Saglit ho, magbe-break lang muna kami, babalik ko kami ni attorney, no? Kung meron kayong mga tanong, pwede ho, we're gonna be entertaining them, no? Tungkol dito sa pinag-uusapan or iba, no? Pwede ho yan. Okay, magbe-break lang muna kami at magbabalik ho kami ni attorney, wag ho kayong alis, saglit po lamang.
O ayan, halos lahat meron na.
What about David?
Alam ko na. Kapag nagpadala tayo ng pera sa Pinas, gamit ang World Remit, pwede tayong manalo ng Grain Smart pangkabuhayan package worth 200,000 pesos. May bigasan, tablet na nakasetup na for bill payment business. At may kasama pang online training session. O diba? Pwede nang magsari-sari store. Magpadala na gamit ang World Remit bago December 31st para manalo ng pangarap nyong pangkabuhayan para sa pamilya nyo sa Pinas ngayong Pasko.
During these trying times, we salute the frontliners who are tirelessly caring for all of us against the COVID-19. To all the courageous nurses, doctors, carers, and paramedics at the NHS, words are not enough to thank you. We at Highlight Express International are here to support you back with a full semester 10% discount when you send your balikbayan boxes to your family in the Philippines. Dahil ang Highlight Express International ay para sa pamilya.
Okay, nako, tuloy-tuloy tayo sa ating program. Ayan, kasama naman natin pa rin, no? Yung ating pinakamamahal na abogada, walang iba kundi si Attorney Danna Quinto, no? Ako po si Sonny Laragan, baka nagtataka kayo, sino ba itong nandiyan at kasama nung ano, no? Parang The Beast and the Beauty and the Beast, no? Ako po si Sonny Laragan. Okay, ayan, may mga pagbati na tayo. Hindi. Hindi, okay lang. Sabi nga lang ako, grabe ang aliwalas sa mukha ni attorney. Sino ba yung parang mukhang kontrabida dyan sa tabi na yan, no? Ano lang naman ako, alalay lang naman. And, maganda yan, ha? Yung mga nagdi-divorce. Alam mo, attorney, maano lang ako, dahil ako nag-divorce din ako eh. Nakaraan ako din sa ganyang proseso na yan, no? Yung mga usapan, mediation, and so on and so forth. Nagulat ako, nung umabot ako sa mediation, pa yung nagme-mediate sa amin, tinatanong kung may girlfriend ka ba o may ganyan. Sabi ko, oh yes, oo. Pwede ba natin malaman ng properties? Pati properties ng ano? Bakit ganun? Bakit tinatanong, anong pakialam ng girlfriend kung ano, o meron ka man girlfriend o may boyfriend man, yung kusina man. Ano pakialam ng attorney? Why is it na kailangan pa bang habulin ba nila yon? O hindi lang, o medyo sira, medyo out of order yung yung mediation person na yun?
No, hindi siya actually out of order. I think the question should have been, are you planning to cohabit with someone? Isa sa mga factors na chine-check ng korte when they try to consider yung case mo. We call it Section 25 factors of the Matrimonial Causes Act. Isa sa mga factors yun is your resources and kung ano yung magiging living expenses. Naturally, if you're already in a relationship, yung tatanungin nun is, are you cohabiting? At if you are cohabiting, ang second ang natanong doon is, ano yung kino-contribute na resources nitong third party na to sa'yo? Because if you're looking at, kung ang contribution niya, if you're about to marry, kumbaga sabihin na natin, sino bang ano ngayon, si Mark Zuckerberg, they're about to marry. I know he's married. Sorry, Mark Zuckerberg. Let's pretend, for example, he's single.
Hypothetical lang. Kunyari lang. Sino?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg. Sige, halimbawa, Mark Zuckerberg. Okay.
Everyone knows Mark Zuckerberg. Everyone knows he's very, very rich.
Facebook.
Hypothetically, nakita kayo ni Mark Zuckerberg, nag-date at nag-propose si Mark Zuckerberg sa'yo. So, cohabiting na kayo, you're about to get married. And it follows na yung resources nyo ni Mark Zuckerberg ay magma-merge. Yung household nyo ay magma-merge. So the judge will say, oh, so that's going to be one of the Section 25 factors then. Na yung resource mo, you're planning to cohabit, you're planning to get married, and this gentleman is worth a few yung magiging resources available to you in the future is much, much greater than the other person who's probably still single at hindi pa nagko-cohabit at hindi pa nag-share ng resources with someone else. So yun talaga yun. Hindi lang sa nag-chismis yung, hopefully hindi lang sa chumichismis yung mediation. The first thing they're looking at is if you're cohabiting at may kahati ka na ba? Really? Kung may kahati ka na ba sa mortgage repayment mo at may kahati ka na ba sa living expenses? That's really it.
Okay. May ganun pala, no? Okay. Would it be best not to say na you're, pero sabi mo, full disclosure, di ba? Kailangan, di ba? May mga disclosure.
We would never advise you to lie.
Na huwag sabihin na meron kang girlfriend o may boyfriend ka, no? Pero okay. So yun ang sinasabi, baka magkaroon ng parang merger o parang mag-blur o magsama yung mga lines between yung originally what is for Mark Zuckerberg and tong assets ng bago na napapasok pa, ganun?
Yeah, I mean in any relationship, lalo na kung if they are looking, to be honest, some of these cases within a year or two pa nagkakaroon ng, people don't necessarily talk about their divorce finances straight away. Minsan after a year pa ng separation. Minsan after a year and a half. So by the time he gets to court, nakapag-move on na parehong partido, yung isang partido, and you're about to get married to someone else. So it will only make sense when the court looks at future resources. Tatanungin, sino nagbabayad ng bahay mo ngayon? Saan yung bahay mo ngayon? And you'd have to say, yeah, may si Mark Zuckerberg yung nagbibigay ng bahay ko ngayon. So that forms part ng resources mo. Yung resources ni Mark Zuckerberg. Depende obviously kung nagko-cohabit kayo, ikakasal na kayo, how strong the relationship is, and how likely it is to remain as a long-term relationship. But if kita na engaged na kayo, about to or you've been cohabiting for more than 6 months. So 6 months yung parang earmark na time. So if you're cohabiting for more than 6 months and it looks like it's going to be a strong relationship, then the court might will likely take that into account.
Okay. So magko-complicate pala, attorney, pag may mga ganyan, no? So mas mabuti yata wala muna mga boyfriend, girlfriend muna, no? Pagka nilalakad yung ganyang papers, pero yung mga financial matters, no? Pero siyempre hindi mo naman mapigilan. People would have to fall in love or people would have to move on, and perhaps yung reason yung pagkaroon nila ng bagong relationship hindi naman dala dahil yun ang naging cause ng breakdown, no?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Correct.
does it take a long time? Ito mga ganito, for example, cheaper to a friend, sabi natin na para mediation. The next stage is pwede na ba yan? Okay na? Pwede na both solicitors will agree na. Somebody, a very good friend, a family friend have mediated and everything's okay. And so
Yeah.
iaakit yun na sa judge yan and then yung final judgment na.
We don't really need to go to the judge kung nag-agree kayo. So as long as you've made full and frank disclosures, kasi kailangan
So wala na talaga, hindi kailangan. Okay, so yun, malinaw yun.
What we'll do is we'll look at most of the times, sabi patingin nga yung nilagay mo na na Excel spreadsheet, pahingi nga ng mga disclosures na nilagay nyo sa isa't isa.
Ayun.
What I would say is, do the disclosures para, informed ka. And once that's, parang, kung nasabi na ng kliyente sa akin, yeah, we've done the disclosures, at ito yung na-agree namin, ito pala yung na-agree namin. So we will turn that into what we sent yung court compliant format.
Nawala ka, attorney. We will turn that into, sabi mo kanina, we will turn that
A consent order. Yun yung consent order.
Consent
That's,
order. Ayan.
parang yun ang technical term namin sa settlement agreement, sa divorce, sa finances ng divorce. Once that is done, so the other side yung lawyer nila will have a look at it, we'll have to file another form as well na maglalagay ng figures ng assets, para snapshot lang, para ensure ng korte, talaga bang nag-disclosure kayo? Sige nga, lagay nyo nga yung figures dyan. So they actually ask for that. We call it a statement of information. So dalawang dokumento. And then we'll forward it to the court. Hindi para magkaroon ng hearing, hindi para magkaroon ng judgment, but for the court to just review it and seal it. So si-seal ng court, to say, okay, that's fine.
So okay na. Okay na, tapos na. Kumbaga, okay na ang parang officially yung financial na workout na.
Exactly. Naging order na ng court.
Ayun. So hindi pala, wala nang hearing to para malinaw sa ating mga viewers. Wala nang hearing yan. Basta nagkaayos, submission, consent order na. Ano, attorney? Go, sorry. If you agree, okay. If you agree, may consent order na.
Yeah. If you agree, you can have a consent order. And all you need to do is submit it to the judge for final sealing and approval.
Yung mga pension, is that something na dapat habulin? Kunyari, one of the parties or the estranged spouses, sabihin na natin, dahil divorce maganda ba habulin? Kunyari, maganda ang trabaho ng isa doon. Kunyari, lalaki man o babae, magandang habulin ba ang mga pension? That's one of those dapat one of those na pwedeng paghatian o i-settle in terms of paano?
Yeah, by definition, it forms part of assets. So
Assets
it
yun,
has to form part of the disclosure. And hinahanap naman yung cash equivalent transfer value. So kasama siya dun sa spreadsheet ng asset ng pamilya. And it may be, pwedeng isa siya sa sa asset na kailangan hatiin, depende sa kung ano yung sitwasyon ng family. But definitely, wag mong isipin na, oh, mahirap intindihan yung pension. And that's the normal approach sa pension because it's such a convoluted area at walang, alam mo, hindi siya ganun exciting, hindi siya ganun ka liquid ngayon. It becomes liquid at some point in time, but really get all those documents because it's full and frank settlement of all assets, including by definition, pension as well, and businesses,
Ayun.
business valuation. So kung may business, hindi lang, oh, ito yung income ko. Actually, hindi. We want to value that business as well. Ano ba yung value ng business na yan? So you might have to get an accountant to get the valuation as well as yung income in business. So,
Pwedeng mag-trade off din, attorney, no? Pwede mag-trade off, pero yung mga mga financial, mga ganyan, mga resolution, mga dispute, yung mga disclosure, mga resolution na yan, pwede kayong mag-trade off, no? Kunyari, hindi ko hahabulin yung pension mo, hindi mo hahabulin yung business ko, parang ganon. Pwede rin ganon, no?
exactly.
Pwede ganon, oo. O
So,
yung bahay nito, hatiin natin, sige, it's either benta natin, hati tayo, o kaya you buy each other out, no? Pwede ganon.
exactly. So what you need to do, the starting point, is to find the full picture. Gaano ba kalaki yung pie? Gaano ka ba kalaki yung matrimonial pot? The matrimonial pot or yung pie? And it's this is may consistent ng ganitong segment ng family home, segment ng business, segment ng pension. And the starting point, so you might want to say, well, I want 50% liquid lang. So can I have 50%? Ano ba yung value ng 50% ng total assets? Ano ba yung value ng 50% more of segment? But I want a little bit only of this particular segment kasi hindi ko siya gusto na asset. And that's what you call trade-off. At the end of the day, you'd have to be able to ascertain kung 50-50 ba ang tama dito or more than 50-50. And then the second is what type of asset yung sometimes mas gusto ng kliyente mo or mas appropriate sa sitwasyon niya. And then you will move assets. And at the end of the day, titingnan mo pa rin yung total na assets na makukuha mo. Whatever the form of the assets are, whether pension siya, whether liquid siya, cash ba siya, or bahay ba siya. So yes, you're right about that. A lot of trade-off. Yung ibang tao, ay, mas gusto ko yung asset na to. How about I take, ayaw mo to, so I'll take this, but have a little, I want a little bit more of that. Kasi you're getting a bit more of the other one. So there's that trade-off na nangyayari. However, at the end of the day, you'd still have to look at ano yung percentage na pie? Ano ba yung nakuha ng kabila? At ano yung makukuha ng client mo?
Ayun. Okay. Alright. Okay. May tanong si Edgar pero okay. Sige, mga greetings muna para at least ma-acknowledge lang natin, no? Okay. 10 years. Ano ba itong pension age? Okay. Virginia Elona says, ito from Sweden. Baka marami tayong mga Scandinavian viewers dito,
yeah.
attorney, ha? Sabi ni Virginia Elona, no? Good evening, Super Show. The Sonny LARAGAN Show, a blissful second advent to you, Sonny and Attorney Dana. Greetings from Sweden. Stay safe. Ayun. Hi. Ingat ka dyan, ha? And of course, ayan, God bless and good health daw tayong dalawa. God bless and good health. Si Darmin, sabi niya, hello all. Ayun. Hi. Kumusta rin si
Hi,
Amira, no? Darmin. Nag-comment si, ano? Ano yan?
Si Amira po Yeah,
si Amira.
get well soon. I think
Ganun ba? Get well soon, Amira, no? Yan. Mahal na mahal natin to. Ilocana yan, si Darmin. Nagtanong kasi ako nung sa, attorney. Naghahanap ako ng GP kasi merong, we are part of this government campaign sa COVID. Ang susunod kasi vaccines eh. And so we have to have a GP na kailangan na who can speak Tagalog, di ba? Kasi kung English lang bakit regular na lang na no? Na mga interviews kaya kailangan may Tagalog tayo.
Yeah, that's true.
Oo nga. Tapos ano tawag dito? Nagkagulo-gulo doon sa isang post ko yata. Tapos hindi na merong magsasabing, ba't kaya kailangan pa ng ng taga-Pilipino o bakit masyado pang mapili o parang gano'n eh. Si Darwin sabi, Ilocano, kailangan mag-Ilocano na lang siguro dahil Ilocano siya. No? Mabuhay ka, Darwin, ha? You take care. Okay,
Buhay ka na
Attorney
as well.
Attorney Dana and Sunny, hopefully sa Valentine's season, mag-meet tayo for lunch
Oo
sa Romulo
nga,
Cafe.
yes,
Good luck.
yes.
Ayan, ikaw ang pupunta rito.
Total vaccine coming, so sana okay na lahat by then.
Yes, oo nga. Nagsimula na today ang vaccination namin dito sa United Kingdom. 6:30 yata na umaga. Yung Pilipinang si May, sino yung ating nurse, attorney?
Mary Parsons, I think. Mary Parsons or May Parsons?
May
Sorry.
Parsons. I think it's May Parsons. So May, congratulations.
Buhay
Ha?
ka, tingnan natin.
We're so proud of you. Oo.
Yep, we
Oo.
are very proud of you.
Ayan.
Let me get her name right.
From Sweden, nagpunta ng Norway, attorney, no? Hello.
Oh, galing.
Attorney watching from Norway. Ayun. Oo.
Hello po. Hello.
Nancy Amores Nicole. Sabi niya 10 years minimum ang alam ko and will with different level of pensions
yeah,
but
we
thanks
should-
for the input. Salamat po.
Contribution.
Ayun,
Okay,
oo.
let me have a look. Because Edgardo looked at it 20 different for men, different for women sa state pension natin eh.
Okay. May tanong si Edgar, no? Sabi niya, tanong lang, well, this might sound trivial, pero sige, it might happen. Nangyayari siguro to. Okay, tanong, paano pag wala akong, pera, as in, wala akong, ipon? Or ibang property na paghahatian, anong mangyayari? Pero nagdi-divorce ka ba? Yun ang pinag-uusapan eh. Nagdi-divorce ka ba, Edgar? Yan ba, attorney? Pwede ba i-tie in dyan yung divorce? Walang-wala, di wala.
Yeah,
Di ba?
That's what I would imagine.
Walang paghahatian.
Walang
Parang-
paghahatian. That would probably make things easier. Kasi sasabihin mo dun sa...
Ay, sorry,
Tama.
hindi pala lumabas, no? Pero hindi na pick up eh. Pasensya na, Edgar. Pero binasa ko na lang yung kanyang yung kay pagka ganun, walang paghahati, wala siyang sakit ng ulo. Ang problema niya lang, wala siyang pera.
Wala masyadong sakit ng ulo. However, sometimes we still say, baka gusto mo ng clean break. Ito yung tinatawag. I think you heard of clean break before, which is talagang wala nang balikan. Talagang sasabihin ng korte, bawal na kayong kumuha pa sa isa't isa. And all you need to do there is, yung sa consent order nyo, is sasabihin walang paghahatian dahil walang asset, but you want a clean break. And that's a simpler document. It may be worth having that. Pag-ipunan mo, it's a lot simpler because sasabihin, mag-uusap kayo ng asawa mo, wala naman kayong paghahatian, but it's mutually beneficial for you both na hindi mag-claim sa isa't isa. So you can say, hati tayo, kuha tayo consent order. Sasabihin na hindi na tayo kukuha. If ever man, halimbawa, yung asawa, in 2 or 3 years time, may ipon na rin. And talagang for sure na wala ka na talagang comeback sa kanya. And the same vein for Edgar. So that's the only thing that I would suggest still to consider. But obviously it's less of a problem because wala na kayong paghahatian. You only want that clean break order.
Okay. Meron tayo rito, so Edgar, no? Well, not only for Edgar, parang siguro, para lang ni Edgar na example.
For anyone
But
else, yes.
that could be true to a lot of us, no? Maraming wala talagang
About,
paghahatian, oo.
And just to say that, it happens sa real life. We have clients na wala, there's nothing to split. But
There's
actually,
nothing
they
to
say, you know
split,
what?
oo.
There's nothing to split. But you know what? I don't ever want it to be any doubt na nag-usap na tayo, na nagsabi na tayo na at this particular point of time, wala tayong asset na isa-split. We kept all assets, like personal assets. Kasi at the end of the day, meron ka sigurong, a few assets on you have your income, you have this particular, if you're working, you may have some pension because 2016, halos lahat tayo may pension na. So even if maliit yung assets mo, or even kahit wala, you'd probably would like to say, wala nang we cannot go back and claim against each other. So we have instances na all the consent order says is that, yun lang yung sasabihin. It's a lot simpler, it's a lot cheaper, and most of the time, parehong party nag-aambag to get that. Kasi para sa peace of mind nila.
Pero attorney, halimbawa, during the time may mga disclose, if in the future you found out about something, no, pwede mo pa bang, pwede pa ba mahabol? So once the consent order has been submitted to the lawyer, to the judge, and then parang may finality na yun, wala na, hindi na pwedeng habulin, tapos na ba? O pwede pa, if there was something
Dahil
defective,
nagsinungaling,
disclosed,
if
or
somebody,
anything, yes, may mahahabol pa.
if somebody,
Meron, bigla na-realize, meron pa palang si asset si Edgar, nanloloko lang, walang,
Yeah,
may
pwede.
pera pala.
Pwede.
Pwede pa habulin, no? But that's
Yeah,
another
pwede.
expense na naman,
Pwede.
siyempre.
Because
That
no,
entails
pwede.
another expense, attorney, di ba?
that entails another expense, but that's not really, kasi so yung ganon, sinabi na nag-disclose kayo na walang asset, you can come back kasi contempt of court yun. You actually misled the court and said
okay.
na wala kang asset. So
Okay.
they can open up the case and you can face very, very serious consequences. Very, very serious. So don't
Okay.
do that.
Don't do that, no? Ito si Ranjit Somel, no? He said interesting topic tonight, okay? Sabi niya, okay, it's kind of small, but I'm going to read this from the main screen, no? Interesting subject. What if the disclosure by the other party was false or items missing from the disclosure? Ito yata yung, parang tinatanong ko rin. And the spreadsheet was altered in the day of the hearing to include items that were not included beforehand and were added to counteract, I don't know, claimant's claim. I don't know what claimant's claim. Siguro,
Claimants, I think claimants.
claimant's claim, okay. Claimants. Oh, keep well as always. Okay, thank you. Keep well as well, no? Yeah.
Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you. So when you do disclosures, it is hindi ganun ka unusual na may party na magta-try i-hide or would try to be cheeky. I'm not saying people are lying, but it happens. So your lawyer, yung other lawyer trying to defend or make a point, will make a submission to the court on that day. If it is an FDR or if it is a final hearing, there will be statement of issues. I mentioned statement of issues. So you'd have to say, well, we asked the court to make what we call an inference, or the court would have to establish whether naniniwala sila sa ebidensya or hindi. So it's up to your lawyers to make submissions that if that evidence is false or misleading, it should have been picked up, because the disclosure does not happen on the date of the hearing. The disclosure happens from day one. So as you go along, kaya nga meron tayong directions, that's when you tell the court, you raise your hand up, or metaphorically raise your hand up via your documents and say, by the way, court, we have issues here. We would like these issues to be dealt with. What can you say, court? How do you like for these issues to be dealt with? So the court, if they think something is forged, they may order a handwriting expert. They may order another expert to say, well, what do you think about that? Was that false? Was that, if an item is missing? So 2 hearings ago, I'd say, well, that's missing. And I would keep telling the court, we cannot make a settlement because those disclosures are missing. So the court would have to make directions and would say, well, why aren't you disclosing evidence? If you can't disclose those evidence, I will make a judgment and I will draw negative inference. So sabihin ng korte, ako gagawa ng judgment kaya may i-disclose ka man o wala. And if you don't disclose, I will find something negative about you. So yun yung tinatawag namin na negative inference. So that should have been dealt with. That's something that you would have to, parang in cases, you'd have to be able to raise during the court of proceedings. If someone is being obstructive, you raise that point. So as we know, it's in stages, and that's the reason why it's in stages. So you don't go into the final hearing, and the court will say, well, what's happening here? So you narrow and narrow and narrow the issues until really what's left is for the judge to make a decision regarding the credibility of the case, regarding disclosures, and if the disclosures are still not complete, to make impression or inferences as to the conduct of the other party. In terms of yung spreadsheet, I think what they're looking at is a schedule of assets. They try to, the direction normally is for both parties to agree a schedule of assets. It is not unusual for one party to change that. So what normally happens is that you have 2 schedule of assets. So you would have a claimant schedule of assets and then a petitioner's or a respondent's schedule of assets. It's not the final document. The judge would say so. It's up to the judge. It's up to the lawyer rather to say, oh, by the way, that's the applicant's schedule of assets. If they make it as if that it's agreed, then it's your lawyer's duty to point that out to the judge. In the same way, Ranjit, yung ibang documents sa minsan chronology nga we can't agree on the chronology, we can't agree on the case summary. So you will find in cases there is what we call an applicant's chronology and then a respondent's chronology, an applicant's statement of issues and a respondent's statement of issues. The court would like lawyers to at least try to agree it. If you can't agree it, then what you will have sometimes is a singular document with comments saying, husband says this, wife says this. At the end of the day, it will be up to the court, with lawyers giving submissions on each side, to determine which evidence they like better.
Ayun. Okay, ayan. All right. May ano lang, additional ano lang siya, no? Something about Nurse Parsons. May, si Ranjit, no? Since he's there, no? Just
yeah.
comment. Sabi niya,
Yes, Coventry. It's from Coventry.
I want just dito, I was just want to mention Nurse Parsons, a very momentous occasion of COVID times. Yeah, yes, truly, indeed, no, Ranjit. Thank you very much. We're so proud of si Nurse May Parsons. Perla de Guzman, sabi niya, good evening, Sir Laragan and Attorney Danna. God bless po. Teka sa mga apelido ko, Perla, ikaw Sir Laragan. Oo. Okay, sabi ni Edgar Duwaylan, yes, tumpak, no? Sample pang ulit. Just want to bring out some points, follow up. Paano mangyayari kung due to divorce, ang lalaki na walang asset ay magiging homeless? May law ba na can be put in place to prevent homelessness to happen? Wala yata, hindi na problema yata. Problema ba ng gobyerno yan? Sa korte yan, divorce yan Pinag-uusapan, kung homelessness.
Yeah, we're looking at. Yeah.
Meron pa ba, attorney?
Yeah. No, I just want to. It's a bit.
Ay, teka muna, hindi ba lumabas ba? Sorry, hindi yata lumabas, no?
Hindi lumabas.
Ayan, sorry. Yes, tumpak, sabi niya. Yes, ayan. Paano kung homeless na yan, walang asset? Yun nga kagandahan dito, attorney. Look at some of the reactions, the people they think, no? Diba? May kanya-kanyang the way people react to something, no? So,
yeah, exactly.
Ganun din, mas mabuti na rin na ipapaliwanag natin ng konti, no? Yung ibang sige, go ahead.
That's so the first question is ano muna yung situation nila before the divorce. So I assume it's because they're renting on another place and obviously from renting they would have to move out, and the question is sino yung mag-move out from that household. So what you're looking at
baka yan, tama yan. Tama yan.
Yun ang I think what he meant by that. And normally ang mag-move out is yung parent na hindi yung main carer ng children. Normally what happens. Now that would have to be a decision between you both, who will move out and who won't. It would have to be that tatanungin, bakit ikaw ang move out? Possibly, the reason is dahil ikaw yung may trabaho and ikaw yung makakakuha ng full-time job, and you're the one who has a better chance of making it to the tenancy market again. And the reason why yung other party, yung isang asawa yung magsistay sa property is because they have to look after the children. So if you can see in that situation, it's not really a completely one-sided situation. It's what we call a sharing of sacrifices. Somebody has to move out because it's a sacrifice that they have to do, and the reason why the other party stays in the property is because they would have to take care of the children. Now, that's the question. That's the tenancy. It's not really completely homeless. They'll just have to rehouse themselves in the same vein that yung party, the other parent with the children, would have to now take care of themselves as well. They have to pay have to pay rent in the same way as yung parent who'd have to walk away from the home would also have to pay rent. So it's not completely, it's a sharing of sacrifices. Pareho silang magkakaroon ng reposturing because instead of one household, you'd have to fund two households. Now, if you're talking about merong property at yung isa yung mag-move out, it shouldn't be like that. But as I've said, it should be a sharing of sacrifices. It cannot be that one party is just taking all the brunt of the divorce, regardless ng conduct. We talk about it, diba? Regardless kung ano yung reason ng ating ng pag-breakup ng marriage. So if it's the second situation, then we'd have to know more about this hypothetical situation.
Okay, ayan. Edgar, no? Okay. May tanong dito. Teka muna, ipasok ko muna itong mga ibang bati lang, no? Si Marinel, okay? Ohayahime. Yan.
Bago?
Talaga, Marinel, pinahirapan mo kami sa pronunciation ng surname mo. Sana, oo. Ojaya, o Ohaya. Hi, attorney. Yeah. Winto. Namali lang siguro spelling no. Winto. Alam naman niya. Danna Ginto. Yan. And Sir Sonny, good evening to you both. Yeah, good evening sa iyo. Ohaya him here. Marinel. Pero kasi it's a very difficult surname to pronounce, no? Because we're not.
It's a beautiful surname. Ganda
It is.
Marinel.
Hindi Marinel. Ohaya him. Ohayam here. He. Yun ang medyo mabigat, no? Ito si attorney si Virginia Lona, sabi Happy Tuesday. Virginia Smith pala to. Sabi niya Happy Tuesday. Hindi pumasok kasi Virginia kaya binabasa ko sa gilid, no? Happy Tuesday, Kuya Sonny and Attorney Danna. How come during divorce period the husband or wife declared bankrupt? How about kunyari? And have debts. So what will happen now? Kung may kunyari halimbawa may sabi mo 'di ba parang how do you call that matrimonial pot ba how do you call yun sa kanilang attorney?
Yeah.
Is that the term kanina pot yung matrimonial pot or yung
matrimonial pot, yes.
Oo.
Yeah.
Kung yun for example biglang may nag-claim na let's say nagkumuha do sa matrimonial pot dahil may problema siguro either the wife or the husband, I don't know, bankruptcy or may utang o may debts. So, ang mangyayari nun, hahati nga yun, pero may utang or babawasan na. Mas mapapakonti na lang yung share nung kusino man ang nagdala ng debts na nakakuha doon sa matrimonial pot, no? Ganun ba mangyayari, no, attorney? Yung, for example, si lalaki, si babae, yung lalaki may utang. Siningil, kinuha sa matrimonial pot. So, mangyayari nun, ang paghahati nila minus yung na-damage na kinuhang debts, halimbawa, na naibawas, ganun ba?
Yes, technically. Unless you say na yung liabilities na yon are so wrongly incurred. Sasabihin mo, hindi naman, sige nga, prove mo nga na totoong liabilities yan because we never really, ito yung tinatawag, naalala mo to say, yung principle namin na wanton dissipation of assets, yung principle na yun, na talagang winaldas yan lang yung pera, and that could potentially be, kung talagang sobrang nagwaldas na wala namang rason na para lang maput sa disadvantage yung kabilang partido, you can say, pwede kang magkaroon ng argumento na sa'yo na yan na parte mo na nakuha mo na yan hindi wag mo nang kunin pa dun sa asset. That is potentially a challenge dun sa ginawa niya. Potentially. Depende kung gaano ka lala, ka-severe yung conduct. However, kung talagang nagpaalam naman, pinag-usapan niya mag-asawa, invest ko dito it may not work. And it was a decision of the family. It was just a natural business failure. It's still a liability of the family. It's still a liability. At
so it doesn't how do you call it? Yung parang yung isa hindi maapektuhan yung kanyang share pa rin. No,
hindi maapektuhan.
Kasi
depende. Made that decision as a family. Yung pagiging negosyante niya, that's the reason why you were able to to create an income for many years. In the same way, yung pagiging negosyante niya, it carries risk. And that's
Ayun.
the reason why may utang kayo na ganyan. So if
Okay.
it looks like it's a natural course of yung natural na decision making ng family, unfortunately hindi maapektuhan
Hindi
yung
maapektuhan.
yung
Okay. May comment lang si ano rito, si May Tigbao Vargas attorney. Sabi niya, if homeless na walang pera sa bank, he can avail of a housing benefit from the council. So iba naman tong angulo naman
depende,
ito.
yeah.
Oo,
That's something else.
ayan,
Yeah.
Edgar,
Okay, that
kailangan
is the
maging
housing
best friends
benefit.
kayo, ha? Kailangan mag-best friends kayo ni May, no? O yan, no? I mean, best friends in the terms of ano lang, may sumasagot siya, no? Doon sa ating, tama yan, di ba? Nagre-react eh, attorney, di ba? Tama, nagre-react eh.
Depende
Kung-
sa
Oo.
eligibility mo.
Ayan. Oh, okay. Si Ranjit Sumel, thank you for the response, Dana. Yes, I agree. It's all complex. I think I will eat now. Oh, yes, it's too late to eat. I give you a call tomorrow. Oh, call tomorrow. Sir Sonny, I'll check in on Thursday for Immigration Advice Show. Keep warm, and as we say in Coventry, ano yan, laters? Ito. As we say in Coventry, laters. Ayan, laters. Oh.
Laters.
Laters ba? Laters. Laters yan. Oo. May mabuhay ka.
That's
You're,
wrestling.
oo.
Buhay, Ranjit!
Virginia
Buhay.
Elona, greetings from Sweden. Stay safe and good health. Attorney Dana and Sunny, God bless. Okay. Uy, yung aking buhok, attorney, kaayos lang nito uli. Parang, ano, no? Yung pamangkin, yata, distant relative ni, relative ni Virginia Elona, si Dina Fornillos. Kung gusto mo niyo na magandang, why do you have to spend, why do you spend a lot to look fabulous when you can spend less and still look gorgeous? So you have to come to
Ay,
Dino Fornilos, di ba? So, Dino Fornilos. Your hair, sabi niya, my passion. Okay. Thank you, Dino.
Yun,
Kita mo
ang galing, ang
kita mo yung
galing.
aking hair. My hair.
Mabuhay ka, Dino.
Oh, Dino. So, try him out siya sa may East Ham, no? Gusto mo ba, attorney?
East Ham po.
Ha?
Maganda. It's very
May color.
Maganda po.
Ito ba,
Maganda
pati
po.
buhok ko na, papag-usapan
Maganda
natin
po.
kasi bihira yan. First time in my life to ever have this kind of a...
Model na, model.
Oo, model na. Kasi picture na tayo.
Model
Hair.
na, model.
Yeah, di ba? Yung kaibigan. Hair by Dino Fornillos. So why do you have to spend, di ba? Spend a lot to look fabulous when you can spend,
Correct.
look gorgeous with less. Oh, so Dino
Ayun.
Fornillos. Tama yan.
Tagline.
Check out mo siya, attorney. Mabait yan,
Yeah,
mabait.
gorgeous
And he
yan.
will be, ano yan, Ilong, di ba? May lahi ka Ilonggo ba? Ilonggo, hindi.
Ano ba? Marunong po ako. Marunong kabalot.
Ay, hindi. Ano pa yata pala to?
Ay, di na. Ilonggo
Hindi,
ka.
hindi. Sa Leyte pala to, sorry. Leyte pala.
Leyte.
Leyte.
Bisaya.
Oh, Leyte, Bisaya yata. Oh, they speak,
Bisaya
ano.
ba?
Oh,
Leyte?
so,
Bisaya
mahusay
ba?
yan. Mahusay and champion. And the nicest thing about him is he's really, mahusay talaga. And talagang Pinoy na talagang sulit ang inyong gupit at ayos at hair, kita niyo ako, wala akong kaalam-alam sa buhok, bigla ako naging instant, di ba? Model.
Napakaganda po.
Mawala lagi ng
Very
blonde.
well done.
Nakakita ko ba na parang blonde tsaka black, pinagsama-sama yata, so we might have that.
Ang ganda. Maganda. Bagay po sa inyo. Bagay
I'm
po.
just playing with my hair, Dana, attorney, Ano lang to, parang may buhok pa naman di ba? So why not ano lang to, di ba? Sayang eh.
Oo, maganda
Oo.
po. Very healthy yung buhok nyo. It's very, vibrant. Nakakatawa. Kasi, alam mo dito, di ba? Yung mga ibang lahi. Minsan, hindi ganun ka,
Okay.
Hindi ganun
Pero maganda ang hair mo, attorney, It's really, jet black ba yung iyong buhok? Is it really talagang black na black,
black lang po.
And then,
Black lang po, yeah.
straight ang hair mo, straight. Ganyan. Straight na straight. Oh, may kulot ba ang hair mo? Kasi sabi niya sa akin, may konti daw ang kulot. Sabi ko, akala ko diretso ang buhok ko. May parang wave lang, pero hindi ako talaga, hindi ako talaga kulot na kulot. Si Eden
Ako,
Loner.
diretso. Wash and wear.
Diretso ang iyong hair.
Ano lang,
Oh, okay.
tamad. Wash and wear.
Pero maganda
Hair
ang
ng tamad.
Hindi, maganda yan, attorney. It's a nice hair. Talagang very, ano ba ang hair yan? How would you describe that kind of a hair? Ano ba ang buhok ni, Nicole Kidman? Ganyan ba? Diretso ba? O kulot? Kulot yata ang buhok ni Nicole Kidman, no? Sino ba ang buhok, artista na buhok, ang buhok nila, diretso-diretso? Na straight
Sino ba?
and black.
Sino ba yun?
Who do we say na mga
Sino ba?
artista na mga celebrities na diretso? Yung asawa niya, di ba?
Ano ngayon? Kung sino
Sino yung asawa niya? Attorney rin, di ba? Si George Clooney. Ano pangalan ng asawa niya?
Si Amal Clooney.
Amal, oo yan. Si Amal. Hindi ba diretso ang buhok ni Amal?
Straight ba? Straight ba yung buhok niya?
Oo.
Minsan wavy ata eh. Ang problema kasi nag-change sila, no? So parang parati naka-style yung buhok. So you can't really figure out if it's naturally straight.
Ano ba si Amal, attorney? Is she a solicitor? A solicitor ba siya? Barrister?
She's a barrister. Human rights
barrister.
barrister po siya. Human rights. So human
Ayan.
rights siya. Human
Okay.
rights. She, I think she practices mga human rights application. She did Vice Gloria Macapagal Arroyo ata eh.
Oh, really?
I think.
Wow.
GMA.
Talaga?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I'll
Pero-
bet
pero-
sa mga cheat
Oo. Okay. Si George
yung
Clooney.
cheats ko na, no? Diba? Yeah.
Hindi, baka nga naman talaga.
George
Totoo
Clooney.
talaga, no? Si George Clooney, maraming
Yeah.
maraming fans yan, no? Pero, okay,
Yeah.
kung may mga problema sila sa mga kontrata, halimbawa, so they don't want things to be messed up, no? They can consult with you, get you as their lawyers, no? Yung ating mga kababayan, di ba? Pero pag mga kontrata, di ba? We've been talking about contracts in the past, di ba? So, kunyari may
Absolutely,
kontrata,
absolutely.
agreements, or anything, or even wills, no? Kung kailangan nila ng tulong ng isang abogadong aayos ng kanilang kaso, ng mga wills. Kasi wills, napaka-importante yan, attorney, di ba? It changes as you go along din, di ba?
Absolutely.
Yung mga prenuptial din, marami tayong natutunan. Ang prenuptial din, nagbabago din. Kailan ba i-review? Mga 5 years ba? O depende kung kailan yung gustong review?
3 years.
3 years, pwede na.
5 years, or kung may magkakaanak, kung may mag-change ang circumstance, then normally, kung may material change in circumstance, it's always a good thing to look at it. But yeah, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, ganun. So it's always
Ayun.
better to review those. So I've spoken with a few of our kababayan na iba-ibang issues, and spoken the telephone, spoken the email, yung iba, send mo yung document na to ha. So do tell us the issue, and we'll try as much as we can to at least provide you with some sort of advice sa kung ano mang issue nyo, whether or not it's
Ayan.
contract or any sort of litigation or family matter.
Ayan. Attorney, nag-ready ka na ba? Yung, ano ba ang gustong, ikaw, anong usually ang mga, anong bang unforgettable mong regalo? Ano ba ang gustong regalo ni attorney halimbawa? Ano ba mga iniisip ng yung mga jogging shoes o ganyan? Hiking, ganyan ba ang Kasi Christmas na, attorney, we will be seeing each other.
Madali akong pasayahin eh.
15?
Madali.
Okay.
Madali akong pasayahin. Wala akong masyadong I think for me, as small as candy, basta naalala, it's fine. Walang pinipili na regalo. So, I think the fact na siguro na naalala ka, for me that's all it is really. Kahit gaano kaliit o kalaki yung yung regalo. So
Ayan, hindi naman sa pabonggahan regalo yan. Ako, simple lang ako. Ako, wala ako masyado din. Ako, attorney, sa totoo lang talaga. Napakasimple ko ng tao. I'm a very simple person talaga. Ngayon lang, medyo, yung ating si Sol, yung ating sweetheart, talagang gusto lang niya, medyo maganda ambience. So, naghanap na ako ng mga Christmas songs. So, nakakita ko. Kasi meron akong Prime, meron kami Prime, yung sa Amazon, yung Amazon Prime, yung when you order, it's may mga 1 day kang orders, di ba? Dahil you have to pay, $9.99, $7.99 a month yata. $7.99.
Pareho tayo doon.
May Amazon Music, attorney. May Amazon Music. Di ba? Tapos may mga libro ka pang mababasa. Ano ba mga benefits? Marami. Tapos meron ka pang, ano pa ba yung mga pwede ba dyan sa... And of course, yung videos, no? Yung mga
Yeah,
videos na
yeah,
you can type in Tagalog movies. O, di meron kung mahilig ka sa Tagalog movies or any kind of movies, no? So, ayan.
Yeah.
Oh, yan. So,
Prime
yun.
members. Yung Prime na yan eh.
Yung
Ano
Prime.
talaga yun, napapa-shopping, napapa-online shopping ka dahil
Mura. Mura, one day, di ba, may benefits ka. And you have unlimited storage of photos, di ba? Family
Exactly.
account yun. So, if you have, mas maraming mga devices, pwede mong So, ayun, ang buhay natin ngayon, it's really, online na talaga, attorney, di ba? And this life of ours, sa inyo, kailan na balita, would you, they say, the government says na more or less sana kung medyo maayos yung on schedule, maayos yung dissemination, yung supply ng mga vaccines at ang distribution o yung by Easter, di ba? Medyo, hopefully,
Yeah.
maayos na tayo,
Yeah.
di ba? O medyo lumog-luwag na
spring
tayo.
talaga.
Oo, ganun.
Yun talagang aspiration na next year by spring, okay na lahat and we could have some sort of normalcy back again. We could travel freely, medyo hindi na yung parang parating restrict. So, reasonable yung precaution. Talagang kailangan. So, wala na mga nakakamiss lang. Yung totoo is, nakakamiss talaga. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but minsan
Yes.
mapapareminis ko. Yung buhay
Yes.
natin last year, ibang-iba eh.
Diba?
Diba?
Totoo yan. Kasama ko, nung medyo inayusan lang ako ng konti, iniksiyan lang ako ng buhok kasi parang every month para trim-trim. Kasi mabilis sumaba ang buhok ko, attorney. Siguro mga, in a month's time, siguro mga almost 2 inches ang buhok na inahaba ko eh. Oo, mabilis akong tubuan ng buhok eh. Ito, kakakat lang nito. Dati, medyo mahaba-haba yan nung nakaraan. Oo, kakakat lang kahapon. Pero may nakasabay, kaya ako nabanggit yan. Kasi kahapon, nakasabay ko yung mga bagets, yung mga more than 70 years old na mga kababayan natin, na mga nurses, mga retired, mga sisters, oo, kasama doon, nagpapaayos din sila. And they are looking forward, kasi di ba yan ng mga, they never ever experienced this kind of a life before. Ganito, di ba? Yun ang mahaba ang panahon ng, kakaiba ngayon. So we'd like to go back to normalcy. And yung court, kaya ko tinanong yan, yung mga court hearings na siguro namimiss nyo na rin siguro to go to court, no? And see, mga your clients din, no? Kakaiba din ang ganito, di ba?
May iba na nagpe-face to face. Pero very, very rarely po. Very, very rarely na nagpe-face to face. Mostly remote. So yes, nakakamiss din. Nakakamiss yung ando ka talaga, you're feeling the atmosphere. But equally, meron ding mga katulad ng mediation, I really think na siguro talaga natin magawa yun remotely by Zoom. I felt that was surprisingly very good. That's a personal. So may mga takeaways din yung experience natin this year na pwede pala natin gawin better this way itong mga ibang situation na to. And there are hearings talaga na actually okay din by telephone and direction mga via Skype or Microsoft Teams. But I think generally yung mas alam mo yun, makikita mo lang yung mga kaibigan mo na hindi mo iniisip ko mabibigyan mo sila ng virus o ikaw yung makakapagdala ng risk sa kanila. I think it would be very nice to have less of that worry next year na lahat activated na.
Tama. Well, tama yan, no? Tama yan. Kasi nag-worry ka, baka ikaw humawa o hawahan ka, no? Sino ba na-meet mo, no?
Mahawaan mo sila.
Mahawaan mo sila. Oh, yun yung fear mo rin, di ba?
Yun ang sana mawala na.
Ayun.
Sana mas normal na yung buhay. I think that's really it. Looking for, nakakatuwa. Happy Tuesday. So si Edgardo, shinare kanina, very early, yung si Miss Nurse Parsons from Coventry. That's really a positive.
Yeah. Tama yan. Nakakataba ng puso yan, attorney, no? Si May Parsons, attorney, yung ating kababayan. Nagwo-worry si attorney, si DANNA, si attorney, sabi niya, kawawa naman si attorney, baka kumain na kaya siya, gano'n, no? Si attorney mahilig mag-chichiryan sa opisina niya, yan ang medyo sumisimple. Meron silang parang lugar diyan sa opisina na merong mga chichirya. Siya ang mahusay magtago at magbulsa, no? Kaya I'm sure, di ba? sa atin sa Pilipinas.
Kada advertisement.
Oo.
Kada commercial nyo pa. Ano,
Ganun ba? Okay. Oy, nako, ayan, oo. Oo, kita mo. Wala kang worry,
Salamat.
Edgar. Pero at least he's concerned, no? Concerned siya sa iyo. Dahil everybody loves you, attorney. Everybody loves you. Okay, attorney, baka may mga shoutouts or anything you'd like to add more do sa ating gabi nito? Siguro, at medyo napahaba yung ating program because we started a bit late lang, a few minutes. But baka may shoutouts ka? Anything that you'd like to add more? At paalam na tayo, attorney. Go.
Yeah, no, I'd just like to end yung Happy Tuesday na note niya. Nakaka-proud kasi Pilipino yung unang nag-administer nurse persons. Mabuhay po kayo and hopefully ito na yung start ng kumbaga end of the tunnel, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel natin lahat. So keep safe, ever safe. And maraming salamat for Mr. Laragan for always co-hosting so well. Actually, hindi co-hosting, ikaw yung ikaw yung idol namin lahat. So I just want to take this opportunity to give my appreciation to you for always keeping us all in good spirits throughout the lockdown, throughout the whole COVID year. Maraming.
Well, thank you rin sa'yo, no? You made me blush, attorney, ha? Pero ikaw rin, because I am here just to be with you. Parang ako umaalala lang sa'yo sa iyong show, no? And I get to learn something, a lot of things then, no? That's the reason why I take notes, no? When every time na mag-show tayo, meron akong mga notes na sabi ko, teka muna, at least mag-recap tayo, no? Dahil, syempre, di ba, kaya nga nire-review, pinag-aaralan, you take notes, ganun ho yan eh. Somehow, little by little, painot-inot, you learn something. And we're so proud of having you, attorney, dahil eto, ikaw, kumbaga, masasabi nating abogada ng bayan because, not the immigration, but abogada ka ng ating bayan. By way of this program, you are officially yung ating lawyer ng Filipino community dito sa United Kingdom. And thank you very much for all the expertise through the months that we've been together na isinishare nyo up to this time, even from, up to this time na medyo may abnormal times tayo because of the COVID. But it's nice, and then we share. Okay, it's legal advice corner, but we talk about other things then, no? Yung mga we talk about yung mga passions mo rin, yung hiking, yung all of this, running and other things, no? And of course, ina-update mo kami, no? Yung nga sabi ko, para tayong chismoso, di ba? Because kung ano yung latest ngayon, kung ano yung latest sa lockdown, kung ano yung mga different tiers, and now we ended with a note that we're so proud, no? Because of si Nurse May, ano pinili niya ulit? Parsons, di ba? Oo, di ba? Nag-tweet pa si Daniel Prus. Kilala mo yun? Si Daniel Prus? Daniel Prus, his name is Robert Daniel Prus. Oh, okay. Robert Daniel Prus, P-R-U-C-E, is the ambassador of the UK to the Philippines.
Yes, of course, yes.
Oh, Robert
yes,
Prus.
that's right.
Prus, P-R-U-C-E. And we were the very first to interview, Pinoy Radio UK, tayo nag-interview sa kanya, attorney, no? And we did the interview in full Tagalog, a bit of Taglish.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow,
Tagalog.
that's very
Oh.
impressive.
But because before they get deployed, dyan sa FCO, yung equivalent ng Department of Foreign Affairs, andyan kami ni Peps Villanueva, we did the interview sa Foreign and Commonwealth Office. And before they get deployed niya, mga 2 years yan, nag-aaral ng language nung kung saan sila i-deploy. Ayun.
Ang galing.
Oh,
That's
si
very good.
Daniel Prus. So he texted. I don't know kung nasan yung nakita ko yung text, basta nag-text siya. And we're so proud of him, no? Siya rin.
galing.
At tingnan ko, baka ma-interview ko rin ng one Saturday. Gagawa nga ako nung kailan man tapos ng tour of duty niya. Kumustahin ko doon sa aking Sabado Panalo kung kumusta na siya. Oh, hindi kasi hindi dati pwede rito. Baka mamaya alas 5 pa na madaling araw sa kanila, no? Pero
Gising na, master.
Pero baka pwede, anyway, sige, we will try to get hold of him, no? Eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a coup. That would be a coup, no? Sabi nga nila. Okay. So, thank you very much, mga kaibigan. Thank you very much sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay sa ating programa, no? O siya nga pala, paalala ko lang, no? Sa Sabado ho, hindi Sabado. Imagine may 200,000 pesos pa rin ang pangkabuhayan package attorney, baka ikaw magpadala ka rin yung mga friends mo kasi baka sakaling manalo lang, no? It's maski no, you get the chance. So, eto ho, ano sa na ba 'yon? Ito yung pagpapaalam natin. So, sa ngalan ho ni Attorney Dana Quinto, ito po si Sonny Laragang nagsasabing thank you sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay sa pagiging parte ho ng Happy Tuesday, no, with us, me and Attorney Dana. So, we'll see you again on the 15th of December. Ibig sabihin, no, kalahati na yung buwan. Kalahati na naman buwan na. To 2021 na yun, di ba, Attorney? O, di ba? 15 plus 7, 22nd, 29. Nako, palapit ang Pasko. At ayan ho, no, sana maging safe po tayo. Sana we have a wonderful Christmas. Yun ang ating wish lang, no? Let's stay safe. Our loved ones, we ourselves and our loved ones are, free and safe from this virus, this ano ba, scourge natin, no, itong pandemic na ito. So kami ho ni Attorney Quinto Dana Quinto ay muling makakasama ho ninyo on Thursday. So till then, take care, God bless, and good night. Take care.
Good night.
God bless.
Take care.
Ayan, halos lahat meron na.
What about David?
Alam ko na. Kapag nagpadala tayo ng pera sa Pinas, gamit ang World Remit, pwede tayong manalo ng Grain Smart pangkabuhayan package worth 200,000 pesos. May bigasan, tablet na nakasetup na for bill payment business. At may kasama pang online training session. O di ba? Pwede nang magsari-sari store. Magpadala na gamit ang World Remit bago December 31st para manalo ng pangarap nyong pangkabuhayan para sa pamilya nyo sa Pinas ngayong Pasko.
Putin Forwarding International. We are one of the pioneers in the Balikbayan Box freight service in the UK. Trusted, highly recommended, and the top choice of the first OFWs coming over and generations after. With over 25 years of service to the community, we've been delivering cargo boxes throughout the UK and the Philippines. For our special promos and cargo rates, call 0208-520-6435 or 0208-509-1434 or visit our website at www.putinforwardinginternational.com. Putin Forwarding International, your family's favorite forwarder for over 25 years and still going on strong. Putin Forwarding International, a proud member of the British International Freight Association.